Welcome in everyone, Flow and Charts. If you have flow requests, feel free to drop them in the chat. If you're new to joining us, we just look at unusual whales flow, market tide, periscope, all the fun stuff. We'll take a peek at two of our flow alerts that are our tracked flow alerts that hit the tape earlier today. I kind of want to look at those a little bit here. So we will start with those and then we'll kind of head over to the market tide and then check out Periscope here. So first up, we had the AVGO 424 250 short puts. Here these look like they are short, obviously not seeing a ton of action on this so far. This is kind of, again, more of a theta decay play. We look at our flow here. This is actually pretty textbook here. You get that repeated hits descending fill, so this is the opposite of when you want to see it be a buy. So this is filling at the bid. You can see that spot declining here. You can see that IV dropping here. All signs of a put sell there. And this one will obviously get recapped probably a couple times, just with it being so far out, 22% out of the money. So as long as AVGO finishes above that 250, and we are trading at 320 right now, this whale will be profitable. And these APLDs, these made a great intraday move. I snagged some of these here. We had 1900 contracts come in here at 169. Let's take a peek at that flow here. Let's take a quick peek here. Let me reset this here. So you could see, again, when this one came in, Ivy kind of dropped a little bit, but that timing was way before, about 15, 20 minutes or so earlier, but Ivy's at that 102.87. We are filling at the ask, just kind of following this up, 102.87. Looks like a buy there. These actually made a very quick, nice move there. 169 all the way up to 205 and just kind of slowly came down. So again, plenty of time to secure some profits on that one. And whale still in doesn't mean that you necessarily have to be, but great quick move on these. I actually took some in the money puts instead. But those are the two flow alerts from today that'll be in that recap. Yesterday, those hood calls would have been a really great swing there. I mean, look at that. Another new high today. About half of that volume carried over, so hard to tell if that whale actually, how much of that whale actually kind of maybe took some profits off there, about that 171 possibly, but again, new high today. And the IONQs, this one, our original whale was 2,700 contracts. We had 2,900 carryover. We had about, I think both of these were 500, so 1,000 contracts there. Looks like, I think this is just a different person, 155, and then that same, roughly the same size. They're coming off at 192. I think our original whale, again, is still in, but again, great move yesterday and just kind of choppy today. Again, still plenty of time to take profits there. But yeah, those are the only two pieces of flow that kind of came in. Let me see the one that you just sent over here. W here coming in right at open. I think I saw these as well too. Let's take a peek at them. So kind of a lot going on with this one. Let's see. So this is our first trade coming here. Yeah, these are, so bid side calls, so that Ivy's kind of rising. I hate when that bid ask is the same there. Kind of throws off the entire trade for me. Just kind of following this up. 69. Yeah, this tape's a little more muddy there. And I'm glad you put that good in quotes there on the W's here. Yeah, not really a clear signal on here, just kind of bouncing around all over the place, it looks like. And that typically 15 minutes after open, so it's not right at open. Yeah, I'm not a super big fan of that one, just with that kind of ivy, and then you have that goofy bid ask fill there saying it's a mid, but just when it's like that, I just kind of brush it off. But yeah, it's a little muddy on the tape there for me. Let's hop over to market tide here quick and just take a peek at this. And it's interesting because we do have a pretty bullish market tide overall underneath the kind of drawdown. You are seeing call premiums, all call premiums, asks out here, out of the money call premiums are just very flat, just very, very flat right now. And then your puts are bid side, and you've got a lot of call volume. So I mean, it's reading as a bullish market tide. So I'm curious to see maybe if it lingers in a couple days and we see a run up there, because we did have a big spike in call premium again yesterday. And if we come back as well 14 days out too, I mean, we've had a lot of big spikes in call premium here and had some down days here, but for the most part here, I mean, you've seen a lot of kind of call inflow, and I mean, puts have been kind of hitting that outflow there. So I mean, I'm curious to see what happens there. Something is kind of setting up interesting here on that market tide here. And I want to hop over to Periscope right now too. I'm guessing yeah, we can take a look at SPY's tide here. Let me just get through Periscope. Well, you can kind of see it here. We'll actually pop into SPY's tide here too, but I'm looking at Periscope right now. We're sitting on top of we're in a big negative gamma zone right now. A lot of short calls right here. And then you got some short puts here. Long puts down here at 6,700. I don't see us getting down that far. I mean, it's been very, very choppy. And just kind of looking at the premiums out. We will do a SPY premium here, but I mean, premiums are sitting bid side, a lot of put volume, and then kind of the holdings on it. Holdings are giving a different signal where that call premiums ask side and puts are dropping. So it's kind of mixed sentiment there a little bit. But yeah, I'm guessing we'll have to see a lot can change here in the next hour. But a lot of short calls up here, and then you got the long puts down here and kind of some short puts there. I'm thinking we might just kind of finish in this range here. I'm not seeing a super good setup right now. Let's look at SPY's net premiums for you. So SPY. So yeah, kind of the same. It's just a better view on this one versus the super dashboard that I had the Periscope and SPY tide on. Seeing a lot of negative volume here, so more put volume coming in. Calls are bid side. Puts are technically bid side. We're pretty much flat though. Holdings, again, kind of giving a different mixed signal there where you're seeing bullishness there and put premium selling off with a lot of call volume coming in there. So it's kind of conflicting data here right now. I do want to look at that 14-day view. Again, just kind of like that overall market tide. Lots of kind of inflow days, and we're seeing outflow days. So something interesting setting up. I don't think, yeah, you still can't go back more than a day with the holdings. Yeah, I think something interesting is setting up here. I mean, and then you look at that 14-day one again on that overall market tide. I mean, big influxes of call volume coming in here, and if you guys kind of pay attention to those net call premium gap, that gap channel, price will eventually come up and fill these gaps. So I mean, it's very interesting to me, and you're seeing the call outflow too. So that's a good sign as well. So yeah, I think something might be setting up to the upside possibly. Again, FOMC tomorrow. I don't like to bet over FOMC just because anything can kind of happen. But yeah, that SPY tide as well too. Just seeing a lot of that net call premium just and that put outflow. A little call outflow today, but that price is kind of already below it. Will definitely be interesting to kind of see what happens there. Yeah, flow has been pretty kind of quiet today. We can kind of take a peek at some of this stuff that's coming in now. We'll start with these riot calls, the 4-2-15.5s here. 3,300 contracts. Let's take a peek at these. So this one, obviously, we are already kind of up on the day here. about 3 1/3% on that. Almost kind of a chase play at this point in time, but let's just kind of look at our flow. So it reads as a buy here because you can see very similar timing here. And then looks like we started at that 1403. Our IV spikes when it comes in. Spot is filling at the ask here. That 91.31 is staying. That IV is staying up. Spot is filling at the ask here. Just kind of following this up. So now I don't like this part here where that IV kind of drops towards the end. Spot is still filling at the bid, but I'm again just kind of knowing that we're up 3% on the day, and you can already see we're kind of dropping a bit here too. I would almost I wouldn't personally touch these. These are something that would be again in that kind of risky flow channel where you're chasing, that IV's kind of off. It's just not the cleanest looking piece of flow there. Let's see. Metal looks like a mess on the market maps. 34 million. I'm pretty not sure how. We can take a look at that market map actually. Why not? Why not? Why not? So metal. Let's go take a peek here. Meta. Yeah. The good setup on Meta was when we were kind of talking about that. I think that was last Wednesday or Thursday when we were in the live talking about that, and we saw that big drop there. I think it was Thursday. It all runs together after so long, but yeah, I mean your price is already so extended to the downside, and now if this premium was obviously down a lot more, that'd be kind of another sign. I just kind of don't like chasing it after it's been beaten up that much. Maybe if we get a pull back up, it's interesting for sure. I mean, you haven't seen any call participation, and puts have been kind of outflowing here a little bit too, but that put premium today, this is your highest day of put premium, at least in the last 14 sessions. Let's pull it out 30 days and look. So, yeah, I mean, it's your highest amount of put premium since this February 27th there. So, yeah, I mean, something to keep an eye on, and I mean, you can just see all of those net call premium gaps to the downside have kind of been filled. So I mean, I don't think I'd want to chase this. You might be able to find something different. We can look through the market map here and see kind of what's going on here. And I'm gonna grab a drink here quick as well too. So give me 1 second. Okay. All right, so let's pop some of these in, and I'm gonna do a couple here. I want to do. There's a video I plan on kind of working on. I want to do it like real time, but not fully real time because it's gonna be after hours. Let's see, SNDK. Yeah, again another one that's already kind of extended to the upside. MU earnings tomorrow or tonight, 318 tomorrow. So yeah, another. I mean, gaps are all filled. You got that kind of downside one there. AMD, yeah, just nothing really sticking out here. I mean, price is pretty in line with everything right now. How about Amazon? Amazon's an interesting one here. You do kind of have a lot of those downside gaps there. So Amazon could be one that I would look for bearishness on, just kind of with that call outflow recently. And what do we have today for kind of that highest volume? Nothing really interesting. All short-term stuff in there. Yeah, otherwise, I mean, I would kind of, and I thought I saw some Amazon flow hit the feed earlier. So This could be an interesting one, that 327.207.5 put. These just kind of came in, it looks like. Amazon's pumping on something though. I saw these and I gotta go back and look and see why I didn't like them. Let's see. So so that IV does spike here. Spots filling at the ask. There we go. That's why I didn't put those in there, because you kind of had that drop off there at the end. Well, now you know there's flow that kind of could potentially go with that. I didn't like that high multi-leg either on this one. Anything above 10 I start to kind of consider messier. And Amazon is just pumping right now too. Do we get news on Amazon? Okay. That is probably why we're pumping. I wonder if we're going to do the fade thing like yesterday with NVIDIA, when NVIDIA pumped on that news and then we dropped there. We'll come back and check that out. Yeah, otherwise, I mean, just kind of looking at that 14-day view, though, I mean, premiums are saying bearish there. But other than that, yeah, I mean, nothing really hasn't stuck out too good on that market map the last couple days. And that's fine. That's fine. I mean, especially knowing FOMC's coming up and everything and all that. So it makes you kind of sit on your hands a little bit more. So we are coming back up. Let's take a look at Periscope here again. So again, we're kind of coming up to that short call zone here, that 67.35 and that 67.30, and we have not gotten over that 67.30 at all since earlier today at about 10:30 my time. So I'm still gonna guess it's kind of gonna maybe be a choppier to lower finish here. Again, just kind of going off the premiums, what I'm seeing here. Very light call premiums sitting bid side. Put premiums are slightly up, but again, just right below that kind of ask side level there, and I just don't like with that holdings kind of being up there too. It's something's odd. You're not getting that perfect data. It's more conflicting, and you do have those long puts down here at 6,700 too. So that's kind of where I'm getting my analysis here, where maybe it's kind of a slightly or chop, maybe downward move into close, and I'll watch will pump into close. Wouldn't surprise me. It's coming up. It's OPEX week too, so we've got all futures expiring on Friday, and Friday's going to be another volatile day as well too. Let's just kind of keep looking here, and if anybody has any flow they want me to take a peek at, feel free to drop it in the chat, because there is not a lot going on there. Docu, we have earnings today. Affirm, I looked at these again. They overlap earnings by a day. Just kind of, you don't know if it's earnings related, what's going on. It's just kind of better to stick away from anything that overlaps earnings, especially that expires that week. United Healthcare, we can take a peek at these. 2% out of the money, 10 days. Net call premiums at ask side, put premiums did pick up. This looks like it may have been the reason for that teeny little pop in there. I just want to double check something on here. So this is only 1% of that total premium on the day, so it's not a big mover there. So we'll come in here. I need to do this. Alright, so I'm just kind of, okay, looking, looks good there, so none of that's the same timing there. Okay, let's see, so we have that flows that are coming in here. IV's at that 32.64, so IV decreases here Spot is still kind of filling at the ask there. You get a couple drops in that IV, but still filling 1 cent under that ask. Let's just kind of follow this up. I just don't like all that, and this is something that catches my eye here when that IV drops. I kind of like to see what that size is on there. So I mean, like the 5 contracts, not a huge issue. 29 contracts, that's kind of high because this whale was only 538 contracts. So that's whoops, I gotta go back to this one. Kind of a bigger chunk of that, not a massive chunk, but it's a bigger piece of that trade. 30 contracts was a big chunk of 500. So when we're just following this up here, and then you see, where was that other one? There was that big drop here. The 11 oh, sorry, this one, the 101. So the big size here and your big premium, so 101, that's 20% of your trade right there, and then you're seeing that IV drop. This is what I don't like about that there. So that's something that's sticking out to me, is that size, that premium, and then the IV drop with that bigger size and premium there. So just kind of follow this up, and then you see that IV kind of tail off here towards the end. I mean, I almost want to look at these as short puts there. They are 2% out of the money, so kind of close to the money for me to like thinking they're a short put. I'm a bigger fan of seeing something that's 20-30% out of the money and saying it's short that way. Let's do, okay, SoFi. Let's look at SoFi. Let's do SoFi here. SoFi. Yeah, if you're shorting the put or selling the put, it's the same thing. You're selling puts. You're yeah, shorting puts, selling puts, same thing. SoFi here. So SoFi, let's start here. Biggest day of net put premium here since February 27th. Did see that big drop down today. I think I had some flow hit here on my feed. Oops. Let's take a peek. So we had these 41017 puts. This one too messy. You'd have to wait for that open interest to kind of update. I mean, you have 680 contracts there, 522 there. I mean, you're about 1,200 there, and then you got 1,000 there. I would assume most of this will carry over. You can't fully confirm because this person could have sold to this person could have bought more puts, and so on. You need to kind of wait for open interest on something like this just to be safe. And it doesn't look like, yeah. So this is a kind of wait for open interest one. I mean, original whale could have been in 687 contracts, maybe sold some of their position here at the ask, and then sold some there, and some other person picked those up. You never know. Just not everything ask side is a buy. That's something I always try to hammer on. Otherwise, let's go back and see what else we got for SoFi. So let's go take a peek. So let's go in here and get rid of our multi-legs. And we don't want anything super deep in the money. I'm gonna fix that little ask side percent there a bit too. So let's see what we got here. So the 32017 puts, pretty messy here. Not a big sign there, and it looks like we had a bunch of volume yesterday too. So I just kind of want to look at that. So I think that might have been. Let's kind of just go back and look. Yeah, doesn't look so 35, and then you had that 56 yesterday. So whatever Oops, sorry, I want to go back to yesterday. Yesterday was this 31,000. Some of these contracts were passed off to somebody else, and somebody closed their position. So we know that. So there's roughly 20,000 contracts that drop off that open interest. This whale's 31,000. So that whale closed 20,000 of those, and somebody owns 10,000 contracts in there. So that kind of goes back to the other SoFi one where you had the kind of chunks of ask side coming in. Somebody could be, that original whale could be closing there, and somebody else is picking those contracts up. Like now, if you saw this yesterday, you're like, oh, somebody's closing 31,000 contracts. Well, you only have 20,000 drop off. So, while yes, they're still closing them, only 20,000 technically get closed, and then you have somebody else owning that 10,000. So that kind of monitoring that open interest is huge, and that's why I like kind of finding those that volume when it's way larger than that open interest, and you can kind of track it a little better. So nothing on that one. How about these calls? Yeah, messy. Yeah, and SoFi gets a lot of volume on it too, so it's nice if you can actually see something massive kind of hitting that. How about these possibly? These could be interesting. 1% in the money, so not too far in the money. 2,300 contracts. We know 100% for sure this is an opener because there were only 1,800 contracts open going into today. Let's take a peek at this one. So these are interesting to me. So we can see we're looking at our timing here. Oops. So everything coming in at 104 and about 28 seconds later. So all of this probably related. Our IV spikes when it comes in. It drops a little here. Drops, and then it comes back up here. And you're technically kind of getting that ascending fill here too. I would like to say these are probably buy to open here. So typically now you'll hear me say I don't like seeing that IV drop. So you kind of have to look at that full thing. So because there's plenty of times that IV doesn't cooperate or it drops and that flow runs. Now this one, yeah, hey, no problem. Thanks for stopping in. Where was I? Sorry. So you can see that IV and that spot increase here towards the end. So I would like to wager that these are probably buy to open here on the SoFis. Now the only thing with SoFi is, do you want to chase something that's already kind of down 1.5%? And it looks like, I mean, they got a quick pop there, and now they're kind of trading red. You just kind of fully never know, and obviously at the time too, SoFi's down, so that IV can kind of get a little skewed. Everybody wants puts on a name that's down, and then vice versa when a name's up, everybody wants calls on that name. So it's kind of one of those things where now if I'm looking at this flow, I'm probably not taking it. I'm not one for chasing flow. Now, just overall though, looking at SoFi too, you are getting a lot of put premium, and then calls are dipping. How much is this of that premium? So this is only 1% of that total premium. So it's not contributing massively to that put premium here. I probably wouldn't like to take these, but I would, if you made me pick, I would probably lean buy to open on those, just kind of with that IV increase at the end, and then you have that spot increase there too. So I mean, I'd like to say they're buy to open. Again, kind of one of those ones where it's, I don't know if I want to chase something that's already beaten up and it's already kind of recovered a bit. Again, just kind of, again, coin flip, but that's kind of why I look at other flow too around it. I mean, you're seeing more puts coming in here, and just kind of looking at the that's the one that Goofy would have to double check that. Tomorrow, the 18. This one's interesting. This one looks to still be in. Again, not super deep in the money, 4% in the money, 24 days out. Did see some profits on these. And these, let's see, so 62.20 3, we pop up to 63.69. Like these, I'm more comfortable saying these are buy to open just because you have that IV increase and it doesn't drop it all throughout it, and that spot fills at the ask that entire time. A little wider bid ask spread, and you don't even see that spot drop at all in here except for some flow after. And I would probably say this is more than likely related here. Hard to tell. I mean, it's 13 seconds later. Probably related, but again, you just can't confirm it unless you're that whale. So yeah, SoFi, I'm seeing that the bearish flow, but I don't know if I'd want to chase it. That's kind of just how I'm looking at it right now. It's just beaten up so bad today, and you don't want to get caught chasing. All right, let's look at this one. Let's see. CoreWeave. CoreWeave. So these came in yesterday. So let's see here. So 10:30. So IV spikes. So 3 days we don't have earnings. So IV spikes. Repeated hits ascending fill. Looks good. Looks good. Yeah, this one, and I'm gonna pop this back to yesterday. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would probably lean buy to open on these. They are interesting. 150. Yeah, I probably wouldn't chase them now. I mean, theta's so high on these, and let's just go look at that option profit calculator quick. That delta to theta, I mean, it's almost, well, not even, but it's, you at least have a delta if you get a good move in that name. But that theta is, I mean, you almost need a $2 move to kind of come back for 1 day of theta there. Like, let's see, what are we? So you would need a nice, so tomorrow's the 18th. Yeah, I mean, you get a 3% move down day. That's good. You just got to get that movement there just because that theta is going to eat those weeklies away. Now, if you really liked CoreWeave, or the puts on CoreWeave, because, I mean, that thing is just absolutely getting crushed today. And you can just see how theta ate those away very quickly. I mean, this whale's down 50, no, not 50%, like 25%, 35% or so, give or take. And actually, this one, how much was this one? 600 contracts, okay. Yeah, that full volume didn't kind of carry over either. I wonder, let's just go back to yesterday and look. So you got that small little drop there, came up about 40 contracts there. Yeah, 671, and you don't have that full amount carry over. I think that could have been some contracts coming off here, possibly. You just never know what they're doing in there. I don't know. Was there news on CoreWeave? Let's see. Shares on Tuesday. If I could type, that'd help. Okay, so let's see. Consumer environment, Trump. Oh, no, doesn't look like. Oh, maybe. Okay, consumer tech news, Trump, sues California. Oh, okay, that's nothing there. Wonder if it's got anything on here. CoreWeave just landed a deal. Blah, blah, blah. Mixed option sentiment. Yeah, I don't see any, like, major. I know they had that Meta deal. I believe it was yesterday. Yes, maybe. There was somebody that made a deal with Meta yesterday, and we were talking about it a little bit. NBIS, okay, thank you. You just see so many names, it all kind of runs together. Yeah, I don't see any news on it. I don't really see any news on it, and that's another thing too with the CoreWeaves here. Let me go back to the flow, sorry. That IV is so high on these two. I'm not a big fan of the high IV stocks. I mean, you start chopping, those contracts are going to drop a little quicker too, and then you already kind of have higher theta on them. Now, if you liked CoreWeave, I wonder if we got anything else coming in on it. So you have some 515, 42.5 puts coming in today, big size. We can take a peek at these. Looks like, so 48% out of the money, kind of far out of the money there. Um, 107, yeah, these look like sells here. You just see that spot kind of drop in here, and all the same time in here, yeah, spots dropping, IV drops. Yeah, these look like sells here. So again, that's why you have to kind of look at the flow there. So again, you just look at that at face value, like, oh, it's 10,000 contracts at the ask. Like, not necessarily meaning it's gonna go down there. Those look like put sells there to me. Otherwise, yeah, I don't see too much. It looks like it's mixed for the weeklies for that highest volume. I wonder if what came in today. So you had some big flow come in. So it looks like all that flow from yesterday on these core weaves carried over into today. Let's just kind of take a peek. Oh, we'll just, I don't want it to be super goofy. Okay. So let's look at that flow from yesterday. So, okay. So, yeah, the timing is very similar here. We're filling at the ask mostly, it looks like here. It's kind of messy with it not being that same timing here. Just kind of watching. That IV's dropping, then it rises here. Spot price kind of drops a little bit. Yeah, this is kind of more of a messier tape on this one. But with all this kind of carrying over, it's only 15% out of the money. I'd like to say these are probably buy to open here. It's, again, a kind of little muddier tape, but just seeing the way that it hits there with most of that coming in at the ask, probably buy to open on those. And then we also had the 4270 put getting some action yesterday. This would be a little one. This is one that I'd probably be a little more comfortable taking versus that weekly. Let's just look at it. So 98.77. So nothing really. Okay, see if I can do this. Go back to yesterday. Oh, I hate this sometimes. That's why I hate kind of sometimes going back and trying to look at flow. Okay. We're just going to have to go with what it gave us. So let's go back to the 16th. So these... So, and we only had 8 contracts before anyway. So, these all fill in at the ask here. Oh, sorry, I got a drink here. Oh, dude, I know. I feel like I have it. It's, ugh. The weather here, like, we went from 50 to, like, negative, like, 3 today, and it's just, I'm ready for spring, man. Like, just pick one season. Like, we're getting 10 different seasons in a week. So so okay, these are filling at the ask here. Ivy's up. I like these versus those kind of shorter term ones that you sent me, Rich Dog. And obviously you look at this and your theta's still kind of high on something like this, but at least you have time on these versus kind of the weeklies where they're going to get ate away a little quicker. It's one of those names that has pretty high theta on them. But yeah, other than that, yeah, that's that weekly that you sent me, I believe, maybe. I got it up here, let's see. The 77. So the 75, there's that weekly 75 that kind of carried over too. A little too messy on that one though. Yeah, I'd say I like those 16-day out ones a little more than the weeklies. I'm always kind of big. Yeah, yeah. If you get a fall, if you get a good fall, and obviously anything can happen with FOMC tomorrow. I'm not a big fan of CoreWeave. I kind of shorted CoreWeave lot. um, so it's I don't think it'd be a bad play. I just don't know if I'd do the weeklies on that one. Especially because, tomorrow's going to probably be choppy for the morning half of the day with FOMC, so I just don't like getting caught in chop. That's kind of the only thing. What else do we got coming in here? Any changes on that tide? Yeah, tell about so your out of the money calls have ticked up a little bit to the ask side there. Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting market tide to kind of follow. Again, just lots of call inflow here and put outflow. I'm very interested to see what happens in the next coming weeks, and especially if the Iran war stuff kind of calms down too. That could really give the market a little boost there. Periscope, we're still just chopping below those short calls there, chopping above those short puts. Now that gamma at 6700 is shrinking here, so that is kind of telling me we might just kind of finish in this area here, and that gamma's kind of growing between that 67, 15, 20, and 25 there. I don't think we're gonna see a big move. I mean, we're almost pinned between those short calls and the short puts there. Yeah, that's an absolute just kind of chop fest day there. These Ubers not really coming in at the ask, but we can take a peek. So you got 751 there, 750 there. Have to double check that open interest tomorrow on these. I would not even speculate on that. This is one you would have to double check. We'll just kind of take a peek at the tape and see if it gives us any clues. And not really here. I mean, you're filling more on the ask, obviously, but again, you just kind of see your line, and that's kind of why I like that fill versus spread there. You just kind of see your pretty much, it's almost a mid fill there, so it's not a good one to get a clue on there. Now, how about this one? So like this, I mean, this is all filling at the ask pretty much, so your IV spikes, stays up, and then you get a little drop there. Yeah, that's... Yeah, I wonder if it's this whale. I mean, have to confirm it tomorrow. Either you're going to see this, barring any other big candles, this will be about 4,200, 3,900 to 4,200 or so, or it's going to stick about that 2,000, or you might only see 2,500 or so. So if all that volume carries over, both of these are, well, this would be an add technically then. And if that open interest only increases by roughly 24 to 2,600, just because we have some other volume in here, if you see it around that kind of 2,800-ish mark, give or take maybe 100 or so, then this whale passed off these contracts to somebody else. And if that open interest doesn't really change at all, well, 1,400 there, so if that doesn't change at all, then this whale opened and then closed that same day. And it's interesting because you're seeing put premium rising and call premium rising on this at the same time too. Yeah, just a good one to check. And if somebody reminds me tomorrow in the live stream, we can take a peek at it then. Well, we might not have a live stream because Paul will be speaking at. We might have a brief end of the day stream there because Paul's usually done about 2:20ish or so. We'll have to see. Yeah, that's an Actually, I'm gonna mark it so I kind of go back and look at it. That's a good example. JD, very long dated calls here. Definitely opener, 20%, nice call volume. Net call premiums, ask side. We can take a peek at MU. They have earnings today, or tomorrow, sorry. Let's see, 37.35. IV is filling at the ask, or spot is filling at the ask. As you can tell, I'm ready for the day to be done. Yeah, I would say these and that other one, it's 15, 2 seconds after. Yeah, I mean, potentially related. Can't really confirm. I'd say that 14.1 possibly is. They're very long term. I would like to lean that these are buy to open here. Very long term though, I'm not a fan of the very long term stuff. I'm not patient. I'd rather throw my stuff in or my money into something a little closer where I can see a quicker return. Let's go look at MU here. MU. So let's start kind of looking at that earnings move first here. So historically, when we hit that implied move here, we do see upside action and it gets out of that implied move. So you would see contracts benefit that way. Now, the thing I'm seeing a lot of here is kind of a lot of negative earnings reports for the most part. When they're positive, though, you see them hit that implied move to the upside. And I'm just kind of looking at that historical after move there. I mean, it's kind of mixed. I mean, it's only giving you an average move of 0.10% after earnings there. So I mean, probably not the best to play earnings. Now, there's a whole nother thing with MU right now with memory chips and the shortage with those, so that might help boost their profits too. So I mean, again, just because a company beats earnings too doesn't mean that it's gonna go up. So just gotta kind of do that. Yeah, MU's pretty good. Pretty good, yeah. It's Nvidia will always be my favorite. Expensive, but worth it. I actually do have an AMD chip in my computer, I believe. I don't know. I am not the computer tech person to ask. I am not the best with that stuff, but yeah, no, memory chips, that is, I mean, I was looking at upgrading my computer with some RAM, and yeah, that's gonna have to wait a little bit until hopefully prices eventually kind of come down. Um, but yeah, flow wise for MU, let's kind of go take a peek. We kind of looked at the net premium earlier. All your upside gaps are filled. You do have that one really low gap there. I wouldn't play. I mean, I'm not big on earnings anyways, but I gotta go back and look at that here. I mean, if it missed earnings or they have a negative earnings report and the market takes it negative, I mean, they would be. I mean, it favors a downside move for the most part here. You just when it gets that upside move, that's when you see it kind of beat that implied move, and our implied move 7.5% or so. Yeah, that's how's our gamma kind of looking? Yeah, I mean we're so extended from that there, and ooh, yeah, that gamma's all on. Oops, come here. Yeah, all that net gamma is on the call side too, so I don't think I would short this. I do not think I would short this, and it's all on kind of this is your strike and expiration. So that 320 again, a lot of call gamma coming in here. How about that 327? Yeah, lots of call gamma. I don't think I would short this one yeah, that's so something I probably wouldn't want to do right now. How is our IV rank? And so IV rank wants to drop a little bit. So I'm kind of looking at that IV rank. When it drops too, you see Micron just kind of go up, and then when it spikes, Micron drops. So we just came off that 100 here. So again, 100's the highest you can kind of go on that IV rank, and you can see we hit that 100 and then you drop. So now price is rising. It almost looks like it wants to kind of keep coming down here. That's yeah. I do not think I would want to short MU. How about our highest volume contracts? Yeah, nothing major today. Let's go in here and look at that open interest changes. Let's see what got hit today for our highest. Yeah, yeah, they are. Had a lot come in here yesterday. Looks like this one let's see, what do you got? So this was 3,800. You got 117. Maybe some profit taking in here before earnings, but I mean, big pop on those today. How about the very long dated here? I'm sure. Oh, geez, they might be taking some small profits too. And it is multi-leg now as well too. About that 3-day 500. Kind of messy on that one today. So you did have some puts kind of carry over. Yeah, I mean, your open interest decrease, they're dropping out of those puts. Yeah, a lot of open interest just all over the place. Just kind of call and put wise, just face value. I mean, it's kind of mixed. Obviously, some of these can be short puts too. Yeah, interesting there. And they are expecting a very big bump in that earnings per share there too, which would attribute to the rising memory chip prices. Man, you almost make me want to take a lotto on MU for earnings. Just a very far out of the money, cheap little $20 contract or something. I can't, no. Well, or tomorrow anyways. Well, we'll see. Maybe we'll have some interesting flow coming tomorrow on that. Yeah, come back to pair. Yeah, see, we are just kind of chopping between those short calls and short puts. Just kind of as expected there. Just market doesn't want those puts to close in the money. Wes, are you talking about kind of on the periscope here? So like when I'm looking at this and right now, oh, hey, good idea, good idea, good idea. Let's go back to MU. Break time quick. Their max pain is 390. 390, and that would be a big drop. And we can check this tomorrow. If you remind me tomorrow, we can take a peek at this tomorrow. It should update after open interest and all that fun stuff updates. Yeah, that's oof. Ooh, look at that 115 one. Yeah, that's I. Yeah, yeah, that's and just keep in mind max pain is derived from open interest, so the market makers would benefit the most with calls and puts expiring at that strike, essentially. So like market makers would collect the most premium if we expired at 390 on Friday. That's if we drop this much, I will be loading up on RAM because I can guarantee you memory will be dropped hard if we're at that price. So let's just kind of see here what's going on here. Yeah, we're just again, I mean, your short calls here and their short puts here, they're just kind of chopping below there. They don't, market makers don't want that to finish in the money, and then they don't want the calls to finish in the money, so we're just chopping in this here. Can can you actually do that, West? I am not a computer geek, so like I am. Yeah, see, don't get me excited and then throw me off like that. And I was excited. I was like, hey, I'm gonna find somebody with a 3D printer. I'm sure. I'm sure there might be some sort of way in the future to potentially print your own chips or make your own chips, possibly. I don't know. I am not that big of a computer nerd. I'll have people ask me all the time, um, oh, what do you have in your computer? I'm like, I don't know. I just have the computer. I just trade on it, man. Um, Anything interesting flow wise coming in? Geez, yeah, just not much. That Uber, the one that we were looking at, there hasn't been nothing else since then. That's just wild. Yeah, it's IWM puts hitting. Yeah, just I mean, I don't like doing indexes or ETFs right now with FOMC tomorrow. You're gonna get chop. But we are looks like we want to finish a little lower here. Just maybe a little lower, but still kind of staying on that put there. Let's see. Well, I still remember like when we were talking about kind of the older gaming systems yesterday. Like my Nintendo 64 has like one of those stupid little like memory packs that you have to put in it. I'm like, that thing is just wild there. That is just wild. Memory cards and everything. It's just insane. Circle calls coming in here quick. And let's see, probably some exits here. I'm going to guess those are probably exits at the ask. That's insane. That's just insane. Yeah, they've come a long way on the size of everything. I'll tell you that. I I think there's still some floppy disks at my parents' house too. I'm just like, what is this thing? I mean, even computers nowadays don't even have CD drives, or well, sorry, disk drives. Before somebody corrects me. And I mean, it's come a long way. I mean, everything's so digital here. All right, I just kind of want to. We'll finish off here. I mean, you can see we're bouncing off that 67.15 where those short puts are, and we're just I hope we finish right in here, right in that 67.25-ish area maybe. I don't know if we're gonna have a $10 run in the next 30 seconds. But you can kind of see how that periscope bounces off those short puts. They don't want the puts to expire in the money. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of I have a Mac just for a MacBook Air is a kind of backup emergency computer, like if I'm traveling or something. I hate working on a laptop so much. And I think maybe that's why I don't like my Mac, and I'm just like I don't like Mac, but I think it's just I don't like laptops in general. Yeah, we are just bouncing off that short put there right now, so they got their little bounce there. And we are closed. So I mean, kind of like we said here, I'll just do a quick recap here. We were looking at that at about that 2 o'clock, and we were short calls up here, some short puts down here. We had long puts that we were watching, but then you just kind of see that gamma kind of start dropping there. So I mean, you're 38.16 there. You just see it kind of dropping there. So that puts are dropping there, and then you just see that short calls and then short puts kind of expanding there. So that we called that out perfect live on the Periscope for the chop and to kind of close there. But all right, everybody, thank you for hanging out for the hour. I thought this live stream was gonna suck because there was nothing going on, but we got a lot of good education in it. So I will catch you all tomorrow. Have a great evening and get ready for FOMC tomorrow. Have a great night, everyone.